stage, on stage with Jim and Tom. On stage, on stage with Jim and Tom. On stage, on stage with Jim and Tom. On stage with Jim and Tom. And Jim.
Tonight we're back after a month-long hiatus, and we welcome a punk band called Service that hails from Santa Rosa. Tom, you've spent some time with their lyrics.
I have.
You said to me that every single song had one word that it made you feel.
Resignation.
Resignation.
No, and indictment. 2 words.
What does that mean, Tom?
Who
Tell
writes
us.
the songs? It's all the same voice?
I write the lyrics.
Justin?
Yeah, mm-hmm.
Yeah, the lyrics. No, they're solid. And it's all, there's a message to it. You're 23 years old. Is that correct?
Yes.
Are you not happy with where you are at this point?
No, I think quite the opposite. I think as a band, we're all really happy-go-lucky and kind of funny people. And I think what Service does for me is it lets out all the negative shit in my life, like all the, the anxiety, depression, whatever, sadness that comes up, like, for everyone that experiences it. It kind of just helps me get it out, so I can't be like a downer, like in person, You
mentioned in still 23 years, the best years of your life are done, and it makes, if you're listening to lyrics, it makes you feel like you're not happy with where you are at this point.
Yeah, I can see why it comes across that way, but as a person, it's just kind of ideas that come through my head, that I feel, negative stuff that you feel throughout just every day, at your job, at school, whatever, just disappointment. And I think everyone feels that, but not everyone has an outlet to kind of release that. So yeah, so lyrics are kind of the way for me to kind of get out all the crap, and just so I can be a normal person. Yeah. I think a lot of people don't have that release, like working the 9 to 5 and just going to bed, sleeping, having children. They don't have that release where they can go out and do something like crazy like that.
Yeah,
I feel like all of us can go to practice and just like make a bunch of noise, and even if it's like nothing coherent, I feel like you just let out steam. This is like, luckily for us, we're able to like formulate songs out of the steam that we're blowing out. But it's like a total release.
Of course.
Still, Ready to Die still seemed like it was a resignation, almost a ready to die. You're the weight ends my sense of joy. No point, no more. Degrades every day to carry on a trying feat. It feels like you've resigned to not.
In a way, I feel like it's almost kind of hanging on like your last string. That's what it feels like, just being kind of consumed by all the bad things in your life and letting it affect you every day. And I think the song's mostly about just kind of that feeling of like, not the point of like resignation, but really near it. Like, just kind of, I don't know, like almost crawling to survive or something, like struggling, like very struggling to survive.
So you've taken all this and turned it into a really powerful piece. Is there a name to this whole album?
I think it's just 2016 in Roman numerals.
2016. Yeah, as a piece together as one, thematically, it's all right there together. It begins and ends as one piece, and in both musically and I think as far as where your philosophy is going with this, it's an incredible full piece that you guys have done with this album.
Thanks.
And so if there is that resignation, I think you've addressed it.
If I had resigned, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah, right. Okay, far out. Yeah, you've done incredible stuff with the very resignation you speak of, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to school for the longest time. I was working like kind of a dead-end job I didn't like. At the time, it was a really kind of hard, negative kind of like... There's almost like I saw no point to anything I was doing. It was kind of going through the motions. Yeah, exactly.
That's why we called it still. It's almost like the still life, like still mentality, like
it's feeling stuck,
just being,
stuck, yeah.
I
mean, like I'm sure a lot of people here at this table in the band can relate to just that feeling of dread of having to wake up and go to a job you hate, go to school,
get through the day. Then the best moment is when you finally fall asleep and then you wake up and you got to do it all over again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, are we talking a generational kind of What I worry about you guys is, how is the future looking?
Bleak.
That's a
loaded question.
Well, no, yeah, but that's what I wonder, if that's what you're singing about.
It's one of the songs. I don't know if you're gonna go through all the songs, but one of the songs, "The City Divided," it's a lot about disappointment in kind of community and society. I wrote that song because I was always bombarded every time I go on my Facebook or turn on the TV of another person of color getting shot by the police. People just getting killed in cold blood, and that whole song is entirely about kind of not so much gun violence, but just the disappointment of how we treat each other, how people in authority treat so-called lower people. And being, like a person of color myself, my family came from Vietnam. They had the struggles of what they had to go through. And when I look at society today, I'm kind of like, I don't see much changing. People are still being discriminated against and killed even, for it. So that song was kind of about just kind of my, like, it was me venting about kind of how kind of pissed off, like, that makes me. Just kind of the existential dread of having to, like relive that every day and seeing someone else dying or something.
When I was preparing for this, after spending some time with your music, I for some reason, like, anger came to mind, and I wanted to kind of go into anger.
Yeah, it's a pissed off song.
And I was thinking about like, what makes me really angry, and I was curious about what makes the songwriter angry, or what makes you guys angry, because it's an interesting subject.
Anger is interesting.
And I was thinking, I think in my life right now, the thing that makes me the maddest, and it goes across the entire spectrum of everything I deal with, is when people know better and they do something they shouldn't do. So, for example, to your point about the news media, to your point about the officer that shoots an unarmed black kid, to your point of anybody who has ascended to a position of power but is abusing that power, those are all people who we would expect would know better. There's a great responsibility to having that power. And when people abuse that, boy, does that make you angry.
Because you almost, rely on these people for, whatever, firefighters, like people of service. But these people should be role models to children, even adults. And when they don't kind of take up that responsibility, I think people get very upset, as they should.
Unfortunately, the end game of a lot of the arguments on both sides, whether you're far left or far right, is that things need to be drastically redone, things are bad, and we need a revolution. But usually working within the system does not provide the systemic change that people want to see. So I think what causes people resignation, back to that word, and causes people despair is it's like, well, what is the solution here? People thought that, like, maybe the election of a Barack Obama would have caused the change that they hoped to see, but then both sides were disappointed in that. People are really excited about it.
I think we were expecting too much. There's been a lot of change in the last 8 years. If you look at what's going on, it didn't go the way it was portrayed that it would, but the dialogue is there and the discussion is there. There's a lot more going on in terms of LGBT. There's even a lot more discussion, as angry as it got and still is. There's a lot more discussion about racial disparities in this country.
Well, it's a
the discussion
forward.
is there. It's a step forward, is what I'm hoping it is.
And I think people like want to see like immediate change, and I think people don't accept the fact that it's a step forward, but like I want more, Yeah. So I don't know.
Well, then you keep pushing it. You get in. I mean, you guys are doing it in a manner of speaking. You're actually singing about it. You're playing about it.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah. I mean, I think that's like kind of the role of doing music or art or anything, because if we were pissed off about like politics, I mean, why not, like one of us become a lawyer or something like that? It's like you're just trying to affect you want to affect the culture surrounding it. It's like you can do so much, politically and try and change behavior that way, but really all this stuff comes about by directly affecting culture. And that's kind of like what the purpose of doing this kind of stuff is, and like having accessible shows and like distributing cheap like artwork and like music so everybody can buy it and everybody can listen to it.
I'm more inclined to take a message from like an artist I admire or a musician than just like watching the news every day or something, having someone say something that resonates with me, and then I in turn have a feeling, and then that feeling becomes action, through either making more art or, organizing and stuff like that.
It's interesting to look at it because the mood of the country is a little dour right now.
Yeah.
And what you sing about in your songs sums up the way a lot of people are feeling. And it's beautiful on two levels. Number one, people can listen to it and they can say, hey, I'm not alone. I feel good that somebody else feels this way and is singing about it.
Yeah.
And number two, you establish a community based on that, and that's what I see as the most worthwhile thing of an endeavor like this, is identifying with somebody else's thoughts or feelings, and then all coming together because of that identification.
I feel like the feelings that we portray as a band are more powerful than what I'm actually saying sometimes, words, have so much meaning, but then you put the power behind it, the aggression, the kind of force behind it, and then people kind of see that and they're kind of like, whoa, they're not just like singing about it, they're like feeling it. And that feeling kind of is what we strive to like convey like every show. Like every show we play, no matter how many people are in the crowd, no matter who's watching, we're always playing at just this like 100% just like pissed off and kind of aggressive level. And for me as a vocalist, like I wouldn't be the crazy vocalist that I am without like a tight backing band to like portray that emotion.
Here was a fun comment that our show got on the internet a couple weeks ago. I'd like to call bullshit on it. They said the show used to be good when they had people on it that actually accomplished things, about the Onstage with Jim and Tom show. What? I have real issue with people who won't go to like a local show or who won't listen to a local band
and talk shit on it, right?
And who just write it off automatically. I don't bring that comment up because it's like, feel bad for us. Who cares about us?
No.
But what I bring it up for the greater point of, there is this sort of like firewall, it seems sometimes in society, where like if a artistic project hasn't achieved a certain threshold of success, we some of us don't pay it proper attention. I think that's very damaging.
As bands and a community of bands, we all talk about stuff that we kind of are not a little disappointed in with, and I think a big thing that we're kind of all feel is that there's not only is there not a lot of newer bands coming out, but people are kind of like not coming out to support local music and stuff. Like I grew up, going to see local bands, so that was a big part of my life, is seeing new bands. And I don't know what it is, I can't pinpoint it, but I think that's the biggest problem we're facing right now, especially in Santa Rosa, Sonoma County, and Petaluma, is that people are kind of like entitled, to see like bigger acts and stuff, but then they kind of ignore all the little people doing stuff.
Or as our friend Joshua James Jackson from Sharkmouth said when he was on the show, I think we cut this out of his episode, but he said he thinks that Netflix is one big reason, or
Comfort.
Things like Netflix are a big reason.
Comfort.
Yeah,
People just have to push a button and all of a sudden they can watch whatever they want in the comfort of their own
leave
house.
their houses.
Well, and the idea of like what we do and what other bands like us do is to make it more challenging. I mean, not in a way that it's like you can't get some gratification from it, but it's not like you can just easily go on your computer and like click a download and listen to it. Like you have to like have an actual physical experience with what we're doing.
And actually, with me, it's still the same thing. I dug your album, but seeing it live was that much cooler. I mean, damn, you could really feel the power. You could really feel what you're trying
That's
to
another
say.
thing, a lot of bands are live bands, like, bands can like put out a record or whatever and like that, have it be that, but there's a whole nother aspect to that band when you see them live, and
Records,
and that's something people miss out on, and it sucks because you're
Especially in punk too, you're watching 5 people literally
go nuts,
melt down on stage.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like a record or a tape or whatever we do. It's just supposed to be a document of what we're actually doing physically.
Exactly.
When we practice.
It's like,
right.
you
That's
make a
what a good
record.
band
We don't do
doing.
anything differently on the recordings than we would live.
Yeah, it's all the same.
So like when we perform, sometimes I don't like playing on stages because I feel like we're disconnected from everyone. I like playing like shitty basements or something, so we feel like close to everyone, and people are pushing each other, they're running into each other. It's kind of like just like this small like equilibrium of like kind of energy, and that's like the coolest part about playing
Tighter,
shows for me.
closer.
Yeah, exactly.
One of the reasons why we even started doing this show was because you see a band's name on a website and you're just like, oh, okay, I'm not going to listen to that, but I know that's a band from around here.
Yeah.
It's nice to, number one, be able to listen to the music easily, and number two, learn the people, because a lot of time you go to these shows and you see them from afar and you're like, boy, I wish I knew more about that person.
Yeah.
This show gives the people an opportunity to do that. So that's point number one. Point number two, and I guess it's a little unfair because I sit and talk to a lot of these people. Boy, is it rewarding to get to know the people who go to these shows and play in the bands and organize the shows. It's brought such like a great texture and joy to my life over the last 9 years of doing stuff in the music scene. It's really, really wonderful. And it is hard. It's really hard to break in, and it feels really uncomfortable. And sometimes you go to things and you feel like it was a bad decision.
Yeah.
But overall, like anything, it's like a job, or it's like working out, or it's like whatever. It really, really is worth the effort. Like if anybody out there was like, gosh, what should I do with my life?
Yeah.
Well, I would say go to more shows and meet more people.
Yeah, because here's the thing. If you hadn't talked to him about the lyrics, you would have just assumed he was this angry madman that like hates the world, you know, but here's a sweetheart right in
But that's
front
only
of you.
half true.
That's true.
I think we're going to have you guys play some music here in a moment, but let's tie it all together. We talked earlier, the world is a disaster. Wow.
Yep.
Oh, boy, it's a disaster. Things are very bad. We feel very bad about it.
The stage too.
God, and it's also a stage, like the song says. But I think one thing we can all agree on is, boy, is it worth the effort to put yourself out there in the musical and creative community that you are in.
You have to.
I believe your life will get better. Would you all agree that if people enter these communities, their lives will potentially get better?
Oh, yeah.
Well, thank you again for joining us. We really appreciate your guys' time.
Thank you.
We love your music.
Yeah,
And
definitely
everybody
love
else,
your music.
stick around, because in just a moment, Service is going to play us a set of music. Thanks again, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yours